Today on Studio 5, we are singling out the succulents. These drought-tolerant, heat-loving plants thrive on neglect. Our next guest claims that makes them the perfect plant to pot up in summer and then bring them inside to enjoy in the winter. Tara Mayoros is showing us how to enjoy succulents year-round. It's great to see you.
You too.
A plant
to see you
that
again.
wants to be neglected.
Yes, especially water-wise right now in Utah. So definitely a great plant for right now, this summer.
Answer me this, Tara. You don't often see like summer planters filled with succulents. Why do you think that is?
Because people love color and flowers,
Sure.
maybe, but I love the textures and the variety of all of the succulents. So the main thing is how they can survive is to get ones that are great for Utah.
Teach us, show
meaning the perennials.
Okay.
So there are annual and perennial succulents.
Aha.
And so the key is to know the difference. So if you were to look in this whole mess of succulents, would you know which ones are annuals and which ones are perennials?
I would have no clue.
So that's why I'm here,
Good.
right? So yeah, these ones, this one is potted with all perennials. And so these would winter over, and then you just kind of clean them up in the spring and they'll come back every year.
Okay.
So whereas these ones are annuals, and so the frost kills them, much like, you know, a petunia or an annual.
Okay.
So
those can be my more come and goes.
Yep. So that is, and look, you can, they're both beautiful,
Yeah.
but you know, the ones that you can bring inside tend to be a little bit more vibrant and textured. So
do they need different care?
Yes. So the annual succulents, these take heat and dry, and these kind of need a little bit more shade.
The annuals do.
Yeah, because they will burn if they're in as much sun
Okay.
as the perennial succulents here in
So not
Utah.
as much neglect.
Yeah,
as the
not
perennials.
as much. You're right.
We baby them just a little bit more.
You're right.
Okay. Well,
so,
I'm glad to see you can still have the color that you talked about.
Yeah.
And
so this is an annual. Yep. So
and it's retraining our eyes, which we're hearing a lot about during this, drought intense season in our state, about retraining to look at things a little bit differently. The texture, like you talked about, super appealing. Can you show us how to put together a pot?
Yes. Let me talk about one thing real fast. So here's an example of what happens when a succulent is put out too early. So I put this out, and then we had that crazy freak storm.
Yeah, I'm going to turn this just a little bit.
Yep, and it kind of turned these black. So I let it go though, and it's starting to grow out and little babies.
It forgave you.
It forgave me, and the stalk, the root stalk, was not black, and so I knew that it would come back.
Would I pull these out eventually?
Yeah, I'm going to let it kind of grow, and then these will kind of die off. You can see that. So I just wanted to show you. I was going to take this out and say, that's not pretty enough for Studio 5, but then I was like, no, this is a learning opportunity, right?
Yes.
So anyway, so this one is annuals.
In the
and
front?
see, they flower.
Oh, here.
You get some fun flowers.
Yeah, there's some buds on there ready to bloom.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then this one is entirely potted up with perennials. So I'm going to put this outside in my garden and just let just water it occasionally and
how much
just let it grow. Probably once a week.
Once a week.
Yeah.
And then pull it in when things get cooler.
Yeah.
And this will thrive inside too.
Yeah, you could, but it would be better outside just to leave it during the winter.
Oh, just to leave it outside. These are the ones we're going to pull in a baby.
Yes, and
And the perennials are the ones we're just going to let fare for themselves.
Yes.
Out there in our elements. Okay.
Yep. And I added a little bit of this fescue grass because it is also drought tolerant. The only thing that are annuals are these portulaca because I wanted some color.
Sure, down front.
Yeah.
All right, let's put one together.
All right. So let's do an annual one.
She's got all the choices.
I know. It's like, which one do I want to do?
Yeah.
All right. So I do like to still continue with the thriller, filler, spiller method, but succulents are a little bit different because there's not a lot of thriller ones. There's this one which is the sedum stone, and they bloom in the fall beautifully. So, but I still do like to follow that a little bit. So this is kind of my thriller.
Yeah.
And then we've got the spillers. I do break up the roots.
Okay. And how deep does it matter? Same as.
This is actually a bonsai pot, and I like using shallow because succulents roots are not that deep.
They don't need a lot.
Nope, and so that's why they're great in rock walls and rock gardening and around flagstone paths and such things like that. So, yeah. So I'll just plant this last one. And, then
and if you were combining, you referenced some that have the perennials and the annuals together, you'd probably stage that strategically, right? So
yes, and just remember, so here's a good example.
Okay.
This one is an annual, and I'll just, it'll just die in the...
We'll enjoy it for its life.
Yeah, we'll enjoy it. So then... And I love getting my hands dirty.
Look at you. You're in your element. But putting that in a place where it's easy to remove and the entire aesthetic of the pot isn't ruined in doing so. Okay.
And another thing, of course, I love, this is that mineral. It's that, what is it, the rose.
Oh.
They're local to southern Utah.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And little crystals or...
I like that you're adding the crystals, the gems for that sparkle, right?
Yes.
That flash.
So, and also little pebbles to cover the the dirt.
The in between the gaps. So it's really full, it's really luscious, right? When you're filling in with the different materials. But again, it's that texture, the rocks.
Yes, and they expand a lot too. And they'll break off and then reroot and so...
How do I know if a succulent isn't going to make it? I mean, it sounds silly to say after we've talked about how easy they are.
I know. They need drainage. So that's the number one thing. And they need loose soil. So you can get the specific cactus soil or make your own.
Okay.
But, and then there's fertilizers. There's all sorts of
Do I need the fertilizer?
It helps, of course, especially if you want them to flower.
Okay.
So it helps with that.
So work that in there how often?
Probably once a month or so. Yeah.
Water once a week, fertilize once a month. I can handle this.
Yep. And also, gather fun things from your trips. So this is just a piece of driftwood I found.
Love it.
And in fact, this I found on private property.
Look at you.
And so I brought it home with me, and I'm actually going to take it home and plant succulents in it. So I've seen succulents potted in logs, like hollowed out logs and all sorts of fun things. And if you did it with perennial succulents, then you could just leave it outside.
Yeah. So get creative and the elements you're pulling in or even working in to your succulent design. Thanks for the 101.
Yes.
This was really fun to learn. And I think we're all looking at our landscapes with a little different lens this year. So it's a good time to talk about these drought resistant, heat tolerant plants. And you help people, you hook them up with pots and designs. Where can we connect with you?
So I'm on Instagram at Terracotta Pots. And so I do that with my daughter, and we go and do this for people, for flowers and succulents and all sorts of things.
Well, thanks for teaching and extending your gift to us today.
Thank you for having me.
Terracotta Pots
on
Instagram. We'll link you over from our website.